All right, guys. So here is the handout that you will be using over the next several days. So this sheet is a two-part sheet. You'll notice that at the top here, it says task one, which is going to be due on Monday, April 20th. And the second task is going to be due on Tuesday. Okay, so we'll get into the second task for Tuesday's lesson. There will be a separate slideshow for that. So let's start with today's task. As I said, we're looking at major themes that arise in A Raisin in the Sun. So, what we want you guys to think about is what essentially, how do we see those connections made in our own society, right? Like, why did Lorraine Hansberry write a play about this family experiencing these things? And do we still see this evident in our society? So the directions read in our next text, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry, we will read about a family that lived in America during the 1950s, a time when society was much more conservative, meaning like traditional, than they are today. So today we know that we have marriages where people are of the same gender. That was not considered traditional back in the 1950s. So for today's task assignment, we want you to give your opinion on the statements that you see below in the chart. And we want you to explain why you agree or disagree with them. Now, really base your responses on what you personally think. No one besides your teachers will see these responses, and we are not judging you. Hashtag no judgment here. I don't know if that's a hashtag, but I just made it up. So please be honest in your responses. We want you guys to see, sort of how people think differently in the world. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If we all thought the same, our society would not be as creative and interesting as it is today. So please share your truth and honesty. So I'm going to go over the first example, which is in the blue. You have an example of a societal mindset slash opinion. That simply means in society, there are people who think this way. In society, there are individuals that have this mindset. No one is saying that it's right or wrong. We just want to know how we all think. So the example, or the societal mindset rather, is society has set roles for men and women. So if this were my personal opinion, I am going to agree with that. Okay. So here I am over here. I'm agreeing with that because I do honestly think, from my observations of society, that they do have set roles for men and women. There are things that men physically cannot do, as well as women may not physically be able to do. But in terms of who we think should do what, that's pretty set in society. So notice how I explained it over here. And this is what we want you guys to focus on. Look at my response. The first thing you see is it's a two-sentence response, right? It's not super short and it goes in depth. So I put, I strongly agree with this statement because our society automatically expects women to stay at home after giving birth to a baby, while men are expected to go back to work. Now, couldn't it also be the other way around? All right. So not only did I explain why I think that, but I made a connection to what has I've based my opinion on in our society. This is what I've seen take place. And so that's how I'm able to base my opinion. So in your responses below, you will be given credit based on how you explain yourself and how you connect it to the society that we are currently living in. So please do not put answers that are not explained. That's going to take away points from your overall grade. So this is a pretty straightforward, simple assignment. We're looking for your opinion, but most importantly, we're looking for you to explain yourself. Remember, we're not there with you guys in the classroom, so we need you to type these things in depth so that we can really understand your thoughts. All right. So you're going to fill it out for all of the rest of these societal mindsets. And again, you're just putting whether you agree, disagree, and then you're explaining why. And in that explanation, please make a connection to the real world. What have you seen in society that's caused you to think that way?